everybody, DeathsStalker here. So I thought I'd share with you one of my experiences at a race weekend, which is probably going to be a couple stories. I'll break them up. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, we used to have something called the Victoria Day sprints. And what happened is Victoria Day is more or less the third Monday of April, or sorry, May, correction, third Monday of May. And what they have is it's a holiday, so a lot of people are off, and a lot of people go camping. But Mosport, which is now called Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, used to put on something called the Victoria Day Sprints, where they have car racing, you know, various types of car racing, motorcycle racing, super bikes and 250s like what I used to race, and go-karts. Now the go-karts are not the go-karts you were thinking about. The go-karts were called supercarts, or in some areas are called shifter carts. And what they are is, you know, your go-kart that you may have seen in some of the go-kart tracks, but super tricked out. For starters, they had full-blown modern suspension, sort of stuff that you'd see on a Formula 1 race car. And I literally mean the Formula 1 race car stuff. It might not be carbon fiber, but all the you know, the coilover springs and the wishbone suspension, all that sort of stuff is there. And then to power them, they would have 250cc two-stroke engines. And now the 250cc two-strokes were basically the same type of bike and engine that I was racing in my bike. They made about the same horsepower, if not a little more. And these things were screaming fast. Like, I think up until the last couple of years, they actually held the lap record on at Mosport. These things are so fast, like it's just mind-boggling. They have all the suspension adjustments and so forth. Okay, he's just waving at his friend. Okay, hello. They had all the you know, adjustments you can put in for Formula 1 cars or Formula 3000 cars, that sort of thing. And they're really low to the ground. You know, for their length, they're actually very wide. What I'll do is I'll see if I can find some pictures of them and put them up in the video here so you can sort of see them. There are YouTube videos of them, and if I find a really good one, I'll put a link to it so you can see it. But these things were just unbelievably fast. And it was interesting because I was there at Mosport. Now Mosport has a tiered paddock area, or racing pits, where it's like a Japanese garden, where you have a level, then a lower, then you have a road down, the lower level, because it's on the side of it's like in a valley with a bunch of hills and stuff like that. And you know, I got a pit on the I think it was the second level. It was nice because it had a tree there, so it gave me a little extra shade. And you know, that morning a couple of these supercart guys set up beside me, and it's like, not a problem, two-stroke guys, I'm cool with it. But man, I was looking at these things and they were like so tricked out. And the one guy was going up for his practice session, and you know, they literally just picked the thing up because it weighed next to nothing, and put it on the ground because they had it like on a workbench. And you know, they fired it up, and I thought, well, he's gonna have to drive down a bit to turn around because he's now facing the wrong way. And the guy just revved it up, dumped the clutch, and the thing just basically hopped and did a 180 right where it stood. And I'm just like, holy crap, I've never seen anything do that in my life. And other guys just sort of like, they snicker, they go, yeah, that's the way they drive them. And I never really got to watch the race because their race was just before mine, so I was like getting ready to go out. But I got to see a couple practice sessions, you know, from where my pit was, I could actually see them coming down the main straightaway and doing the last 2 turns before you sorry, the back straightaway, do the last 2 turns before you go onto the main straightaway. And just watch it, those guys were going through the corners at like almost 3 times the speed I could possibly carry on a 250, and they were going like 3 wide. So it was just mind-boggling. So if you ever get a chance, you know, to see a super kart race or see them at a racetrack or whatnot, you got to check them out, because you know, they're incredible. But the you know, I'll put some links to some videos if I can find some, but you'll be blown away by them. So anyways, that's my little one story from the Victoria Day Sprints. DeathsStalker signing off.